So, welcome once again, guys. I'm excited to be here. Solavise Tech free workshop session. I want to advise that if your network is not very stable, kindly go off camera and just follow through with your audio device. All right. And on the call, we have the amazing Solavise Tech team that will be guiding you through a journey. And when we look at the statistics of those who enrolled for this program, trust me, this is a highly selected team of persons who decided to take on this program. A lot of screening was done, and you all succeeded to make it through. And we're going to be taking you through a journey for 5 days. But before we get into that, we have Dr. Angelo, who is going to address us briefly. And then we have another amazing surprise before we get into the subject matter of today. But the objective is for us to give you a picture of what is coming forth in October. Starting in October, we're going to take you guys through a very powerful training, right? A 6 to 7 months journey. But before we get there, let me call on Dr. Angelo. Dr. Angelo, are you right there? If you're there,
all right.
Yes, you can take on the mic, please.
All right, can you get me, Dr. Samba?
5 on 5.
All right. Thank you very much. Greetings to everybody. I don't know wherever you are connecting from. Is it morning? Is it afternoon? Is it evening? You are all welcome. Please, to be sure you are here with us, can you type in the comment section hi? Just type hi in the comment section. And first of all, congratulations for showing up. All right, congratulations for, being part of this amazing program. The next 5 days of training are going to be incredible. I can assure you that, because you have a team of dedicated trainers that will be taking you through the basics. The basics of cloud computing, AWS and DevOps. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have dreamed that you want to take your career in cloud computing to the next level, or you are just starting, even if you don't know anything about cloud computing, I can assure you that you have a team here. And one of the key things here is about simplification, making it simple and easy to understand. You don't need any IT background. Trust me, you don't need any IT background. As a matter of fact, the less you know, the more you can know in this program. All right, because you have a team of dedicated people, and I will say that again. The current batch that is going on, you hear from them in the course of this training. You hear from them their experience and how incredible. Some people started from scratch. They don't even know how to manipulate a computer. They were struggling to even learn some basics of using IT. But now they are getting very good at this, and this is an incredible skill. This is a high ticket skill. This is a skill that is rising in the 21st century. Cloud computing is taking over, and trust you me, this is one of the skills you don't want to miss in if you are somebody who really wants to take this to the next level. And of course, Solavise Tech is taking this to the next dimension, because it wants to give the opportunity for everyone to assist in this skill. First of all, you have this free training, and then the next thing for those who go through this free training and they want to take this skill, like they really want to learn the cloud computing, you're going to be having a special promotion. We'll only unveil it at the end of the training, all right? At the end of the 5 days training that you have. For those who really want to take this to the next level, there's no excuse. You just need to be dedicated. You just need to focus. You just need to have what it takes, and that is the only thing. You need a computer, you need good internet connection, and then you need to focus. All right? Because you're having a certain level of promotion that can permit you to take this skill wherever you are from. And trust you're asking yourself, why don't I just go and take it anywhere else? Let me tell you something. Solavise Tech will give you the simplest possible tools. The way you understand this cloud computing is to where that you can leave from here and then get a very powerful, a very high-paying job, because you master the skills. It's not only about going through the program, it's about mastery. You need to master it. And throughout this program, the first 5 free days, you're going to understand the basics. And then, of course, in October, the program, the full program for those who want to take the course to the next level unveiling. And as I said earlier, wait for it at the end of the 5 days training. You have 5 sessions to have these basics. And at the end of that, you have a powerful and interesting bonus for those who show determination, for those who be here daily to say, all right, I'm following this program, because that's the first criteria to tell you that to give Solavise Tech and the partners the reason to say, all right, this person deserves to have an extra bonus. This person deserves to have an extra bonus. So take the 5 days seriously, guys. And then at the end, you have a special bonus anticipation for the training coming up in October. So the next batch is in October and you have a chance to profit. So thank you very much. And you guys, all of us should have a wonderful time, and as we anticipate to take the training to the next level. Thank you, Dr. Samba. Thank you to all the partners of Solavise Tech. This is an exciting program for all those who have enrolled. I do know, I'm very certain, I do know, based on the testimonies, based on the information I've gotten, based on what people that are in the current batch and those who have been through Solavise Tech are testifying. Trust you me, you are in the right place at the right time, at the right moment. Profit, guys, and take this to the next level. Bye for now. You will see me again. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Dr. Angelo, for stepping in. We are grateful to have you even out of your busy schedule. You made it here. Thank you so much. Guys, Dr. Angelo is part of the technical team, and he's doing a great job to be able to ensure that we're able to take content out to our end users. And I promised you guys to have an amazing surprise. One of my colleagues, we're currently working on a migration project, about to embark on a migration project with Microsoft. Just to let you know that I'm based here in Cameroon, while he is based in the United States of America. He's very busy with a lot of work, and he will tell you his story, right? In about 5 minutes or so, especially to those who told us that they have no idea, right? They've never heard about cloud computing, they have no experience in IT, but they are excited, they are just curious, right? They want to explore this domain. Let's all welcome Engineer Eddie all the way from USA. If you can hear me, sir, you have the mic.
All right. Thank you very much, Doc. Can you hear me?
5 on 5.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you for this privilege. And hello to everyone. I'm very much honored to be here. I have to say, when Doc called today, I couldn't say no, because I know where I started, and I know like the doubt I had starting this. Knowing that, especially for us back home in Africa, we always have this notion that you need to have a background in computer science or something technical before you can embark on a journey like this. But I want to say this is a journey that you don't need to look at your past. What you need to look at is your future. It doesn't matter if you were a nurse, or if you were a farmer, or if you were whatever. So long as you have that zeal and desire to learn, cloud computing is something that you should go to. Like Doc said, I will give you a little bit of my own personal history. Then probably from there you can get the motivation. I'm very glad that when I look in the chat, I see that there are people from Ghana, there are people from Nigeria. Like, at first people had this notion that it's only those in USA that could do this. So I have to applaud you, Doc, for what you are trying to do to spread this, because the best gift anybody can give you right now, if you're on this call and you have somebody that is willing to sacrifice for you a little bit. Maybe you have a brother here is asking you, what do you want me to do for you, and things like that. The best gift someone can give you right now is to make you become a tech person, is to make you become a cloud technology kind of guy, because the cloud, like, the opportunities are just so vast. And I have a lot of colleagues, like Doc told you, he is my colleague, and I have a lot of colleagues as well that work with me from Africa. So for somebody to give you $1,000, for instance, to go buy some pair of shoes, the person should rather, enroll you for a course like this. And you struggle a little bit to sacrifice and make sure you get this knowledge, because 10, 20 years from today, trust me, even in Africa, everybody will be in the cloud. That's a fact. Like companies that are not in the cloud right now are just because they can't afford to be in the cloud. The cloud is the safest place to be right now, as you're going to get when you enroll for this course. It's the most dynamic place to be, is the most cost effective place to be right now. And I'm I'm an engineer right now, but did I start my journey as an engineer? No. I came from Africa as a teacher, to be honest, as a philosophy teacher at that, not even a computer science teacher. So you can imagine being a philosophy teacher and ended up being an engineer. There is no correlation at all. But when I came here and I had the orientation, which was not even to the level of what you guys are having right now. It was just friends telling me around that try and go in for this. But they've put across a whole 5-day workshop for you guys just to orientate you on the cloud. I think that's gold. That's priceless. That's something that's already a winning step for you guys. And I know for sure that when they talk about cloud, or they talk about the fact that it's a computer kind of thing, there is coding and stuff like that, people begin to get scared. Dr. Angelo that spoke before me, I think has said it all. Like, having worked with Doc for so long, one thing I know for sure is that they will demystify this for you. It's a crash program, but it's handled by professionals. It's handled by those that are already in the field. It's handled by those that are already hands-on in the field, and it's handled by those that will give you just the material that you need to be able to be successful in the field. So I would say this is something that you know, you should not just be coming to test waters. You should be coming to fully get into it. It's huge. It pays well. you know right now that I'm talking, I left from being a philosophy teacher that was earning not up to probably 100,000 in Africa to ending six figures. Now I know when somebody talk IT, the person talks six figures, and you have the possibility of working for a company here, even wherever you are. That's us being very honest, because most of these jobs are remote. And remote simply means if you're smart enough, you can have two, you can have three. It depends on how smart you are to do that. Because personally speaking, I have two jobs right now, and I would be lying to you guys here if I sit here and I say I'm not comfortable. If I sit here and I call myself a poor person again, or I'm managing and stuff like that. And that is not any form of bragging. That is to let you know that this is something real. And it took me what, 7 months, 6 months, like Doc said, to be equipped, and you have technicians that are already in the field. Like I said, right now I'm working on a project with him, which probably we will go into details as you guys start in the journey. But if you have somebody that you really feel that you don't want the person tomorrow to say, hey, you had this opportunity and you did not inform me. Because I have friends right now, some are even angry with me because I'm telling them about this opportunity right now. Why? Because when I had this opportunity, I thought, okay, these guys, they have their things doing. Let me not make them feel like that what they are doing is not good. Let me just go. But now they're kind of realizing, and they feel like I left them behind. So if you have anybody that you feel it's of goodwill, especially now that you guys will be benefiting from a promo, like Dr. Angelo said. The best thing you can do is tell the person that, hey, there is this wonderful program that we want to go in for. Please come, let's do it now, because I don't want that when I start ending my six figures tomorrow, you start telling me that why didn't I tell you about it? So this is coming from first hand, somebody that's in the industry. There is a lot of job opportunities out there. For an initiative like this to start spreading to Africa the way it's doing, trust me, I'm very, very happy about it. And that's why when Doc told me about it, I said I would jump on the call, and I will answer any questions that you guys have with relation to anything that has to do with the cloud, even if you don't just understand what you mean by cloud because I remember the first day I sat on this. I didn't even understand like what is cloud computing? What are you telling me about the cloud? Is it that you go to the cloud and you do something? I think these are all fundamentals that by the time you're done with this workshop, you should be good and ready to go. And trust me, after 7 months, you will be telling yourself this is the best thing that ever happened to you. You will be telling yourself, thank God for meeting this person. You'll be telling yourself this money was, what being spent. So like I said, I'm really happy to be here, and I wish it should be more of an interactive session. You ask no question is dumb, because one powerful tool you will have in the industry is for you to be able to communicate your thought. So any form of question you have with regard to you beginning your journey in the cloud, because right now I see 24 people on the call. I know I'm part of the 24, Doc is part of the 24, but I know active students who probably want to take this course should be about 19 or so. I want that next time when I come, each of these students, you have another person that you've come along with. That is the only way, and that is what Doc is doing right now. That is the only way we can develop our community and form this stronger community. Because I didn't know Doc from anywhere. It was only through networking as engineers that we became this close. And now he's bringing me to his platform. Very soon we'll also network together. That is how the strength of us Africans also taking over this tech world like the Indians did some years back. That's what we need to do as well. So as I'll be on the call, I will, if you have any question at all, like any form of question you want to ask, please, you're free to do these few days that we have to discuss before you guys hit the real journey. I think that's what I can say for now, Doc.
Thank you very much, Eddie. Good to have you. It's a pleasure. Eddie's very, very busy, but he decided to step on this call. So, guys, if we do appreciate Eddie, can we just drop an appreciation in the chat, please? I see someone has a hand raised. Linking. Oh, okay, no, that's fine. You can just appreciate Eddie in the chat as we begin. All right, just appreciate Eddie. If you have any questions, just to let you guys know that we have other members of the team, Solavise Tech team on the call. So if you have any questions as we ride on, you can drop them in the chat. You're going to get responses, all right? So right away, let me take us through with what we have to cover for today. We have 5 topics which we're going to cover in the entire course of this program. So today I'm going to start off with one of them, which is around global reach. All right. I'm going to take us around global reach, AWS global reach, and cost optimization. Just to let you guys know that what we're going to be doing during these few days is going to be more of high level. When I say high level, I mean that we're not going to go into so much detail, right? It's just to give you a picture of what you should expect in the nearest future. Because like we said, we're going to take you through a 6 to 7 months boot camp. It being a boot camp means that it's kind of an accelerated program, but then it's well designed in such a way that even for you who has no IT background, to be able to survive. And for most of you who came in through, let's say, the Facebook ad which we posted, there was a little story you read, right, around somebody who had a medical background, had no IT background, but was very curious about technology and was open enough to study. That's my story, right? That's my story. With no IT background, purely medical, right? Studies to go medical doctor, but then I was open enough to, study this, and within the period of 6 to 7 months, I was able to, go out there, get a job, right from the training. So, guys, that's exactly what I'm going to be taking us through today. So, just to start off with the basics of cloud computing. So, now before we get into the global reach, let me just give us what exactly cloud computing is all about. All right. Now, cloud computing, let me just give us, before getting here, let's just take, for example, here, it says, a good example of AWS Global Reach is a global e-commerce company that serves customers in different regions around the world, right, by deploying their applications and services in different AWS regions. And the company can offer faster and more reliable service to their customers by minimizing network latency and providing better availability. Now, I'm going to try to break it as simple as possible so you can understand. let's imagine that a company wants to establish, before we had this concept of cloud computing, right? What needs to happen is that that company needs to make a decision of where they want to be located. So let's forget about cloud computing now, and let's look at how things used to be before cloud computing. So let's say before cloud computing, right? What generally used to happen is that now the company wants to establish, the first thing they want to ask themselves is, where exactly would they have most of their customers? Where exactly would their clients be coming from? So when they make that decision of where their clients will be coming from, based on the solution that they are going to be providing to their end clients, right, they will now choose a physical location where they have to establish. When they now choose this physical location where they have to establish, it therefore means that they have to construct a physical structure. Guys, I'll be moving with us through a journey. So I want you to be able to be focused so they can connect the dots. So what are we saying? A company which wants to establish physically will have to make a decision of where their customers will be coming from. Majority of the customers will be coming from. Now, they will now establish a physical structure. When establishing that physical structure where they're going to be established, they also have an idea of the projected number of customers they're expecting, right? Say every year, or maybe in 6 months, or in 2 years, right? As time goes on, they have an idea. So when they have this idea of the projected number of customers, they will use that decision to be able to, make a choice of what quantity of computers or what quantity of compute resources they will need to be able to meet to the needs of these end users or to the need of these customers. What are we saying? We are saying that before cloud computing, a company has to establish one. So we say number one, we need to have a physical establishment. So we're saying here that number one, physical establishment. Now, this company is having a physical establishment, which means they have to construct. And this construction comes with a lot of cost. But the question now is, once they are still constructing to start up the company, is the company already making profits? Drop in the chat, please. When a company creates a physical infrastructure, do they start making profits at the onset? Drop in the chat. Give a response in the chat. When they start off by building a physical structure, do they start making profits instantly? They don't start making profits, right? But then they have to build that physical infrastructure. This cost which comes with that creation of the physical infrastructure is what we call a fixed cost. They cannot avoid that cost. It's actually a fixed cost, right? That's the second thing is, number two, the company has to purchase. Now, this physical establishment has to do with what we call, maybe, for example, the physical building, right? Also, they have to buy computers, so you can say compute resources. Okay. These computers or compute resources are those things that will be able to host the applications which you have to build. So all of this expenditure goes in, is what we call fixed cost, right? They have no choice but to spend this money at the onset initially. The second thing they will have to take a look at is they have to guess capacity. Guess capacity. When I say guess capacity, what do we mean? We mean that they have to make a projection of what is the size of the traffic that is going to be coming to their application. And as we go on, we'll be talking around application. In IT, yes, we're talking around application. All right. So they have to make a guess on what is the size of their projected clients. Now, in making that decision, they can either overestimate the number of clients, right? Or they can underestimate. What do I mean? What I'm trying to say is, a company might establish and they're expecting that, okay, maybe they have, like for example, we said an e-commerce company that wants to establish. In this example we have above here, an e-commerce company, right? E-commerce means they have to provide, they want to provide some goods or services that they have to sell online. And now they may be projecting, okay, in a year, they could have, say, 1,000 clients or 500 clients, right? For the next 6 months, 500 clients, 1,000 clients. So they'll go ahead to buy compute resources, right, or computers on which they can install the applications that will be able to withstand that amount of traffic or that amount of population or those number of people that try to reach the applications. So if they project to have 500 or 1,000, and at the end of the day, they have more than that projected amount, right? This is what is going to happen. You notice that the amount of people that will be trying to access the website of that company is going to be far more than the amount of compute resources, right, or the amount of computers that they actually bought to host those resources. And so the effect that their customers will be having will be that when customers try to reach the website or the application, right, it's going to be very slow. And once it's very slow, it takes a lot of time to load, right? It's going to be not a very good experience for the clients. And so they may turn to, move over to the next available company that offers the same resources or the same services, right? So as well as they could be expecting to have maybe say 1,500, and then they rather have less. Okay, so in that case, they're actually over projected. So if they have more than they were expecting, it means they're actually under projected, as well as if they have less than they were expecting, therefore means they're actually over projected. So what's the problem now that could come with actually over projecting? They could now buy more computers that will now be idle, that will be wasting. So they are losing a lot of money, right? So the third thing that could happen when a company is trying to establish is that now, probably we have a couple of persons here from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Cameroon. You could start a business locally. And as time goes on, right, you begin to expand your business to other regions or to other towns or to other cities, right? Or even out of your country, which means that a company starts locally. Now, initially without a cloud, they need to do what we call global expansion, or it could be regional expansion. It could be, going out of their physical location. So what are we saying? If we want to have a global expansion, now we are saying that if you create a company, let's say in your local town, you are serving customers in your local town. As you start having more customers coming in, they could come from another city. For you to be able to serve them in a new city, what do you need to do? You need to actually move over to the new city and build another physical structure to be able to serve your clients in that new city. That's the challenge that we have with traditional way of setting up businesses. And so the cloud also comes in to solve this problem. And I'm going to tell us how the cloud is actually solving this problem. All right? So I want you to understand how things used to be. Forget about cloud computing and look at how normally a traditional business is going to operate. The first, we talk about how you need to serve your physical infrastructure. Your customers have to come to you physically. You have to serve them. Or if they can access your company information, your website online, they now come to you physically for you to serve them. The next thing you have to project how many clients you're expecting to be able to serve in a day. This same decision, right? Let's say, for example, you have a supermarket. The owner of the supermarket, the physical supermarket, will probably have a projected number of customers he's expecting a day. Based on that decision, he will now be able to know how many cashiers should I establish in the supermarket to be able to serve this number of customers. Because you're going to be losing business if you have many customers that come and they queue up on the line in the shop and you're unable to serve them because, time is money, right? So the more clients you're receiving to your supermarket, the more you want to provision enough people to be able to serve those clients, all right? So that's what happens physically. Global expansion. Now, if you start your business in one local town, let's say you start your business in Lagos or you start your business in Accra, and they start having more customers, that need your services in another town, or another city, probably you want to move over to that city and create another structure to be able to serve those clients. Now, moving over to another town, another city to set up that structure, it also comes with a lot of capital investment. And this is one of the greatest challenges that many startup companies have. They don't have the money to be able to establish this physical structure, right, to be able to serve clients. So how does cloud computing come in now to solve this problem? The next thing, number 4, the next challenge that we have here, guys, is the fact that just imagine then you are expecting to have 500 clients. And at the end of the day, you have 100 clients. And you have gone ahead to buy machines or computers to be able to serve 500 clients. It therefore means that right there in your company, you're going to have a lot of computers that are idle, that are not being used. That is money that is being wasted, that you would have actually used that money to invest in doing something else. And so because of this reason, many companies are looking for solutions, right, that can help them to be able to save costs. How long will it take for you to be able to build a physical structure in your country? Let's even forget about going out of your country. Let's look at Lagos, or let's look at Yaoundé in Cameroon, or let's look at Accra in Ghana. You build a physical structure, maybe it takes you 1 year, it takes you maybe 18 months. And by the time you're done, you have to move over to another town, take the next 6 months to 1 year again to be able to establish that physical infrastructure, to be able to hire people to work in those offices. You know, all of that is not easy. It's very, very challenging. And so it's very difficult for a lot of startup companies to be able to attain this. Also think about it. There's what we call compliance. Compliance. You can't just leave from Nigeria, come to Cameroon and start up a business. You can't just leave from Cameroon, go to Ghana and just establish a business. There are certain regulations that must be met. You must abide to the rules and regulations in that country. There are some certain criteria that you have to follow through, right? Now think about that, and I think about going out of Africa and going to establish a business in the US. Think about going to establish a business in Europe. All of these challenges will hinder that global expansion. So what is cloud computing, and how does cloud computing come about to solve these problems? This is where in about 2006 to thereabout, Amazon actually purchased lots of computers to be able to serve their clients. You know, they have an online shop, Amazon.com and all of that. And lots of these computers were idle and they had to serve many customers. So they began to think, how can we be able to use these resources? How can we be able to sell out these resources, right? So what did they do? They went ahead to create a sub-company called Amazon Web Services, AWS, where they now decided to place these compute resources online. They made these compute resources available for companies to be able to rent them, which means that this is what they tell companies. They say, hey, instead of you to go ahead to build a physical structure, instead of you to go ahead to guess how many users you want to have and you purchase computers to be able to serve them, instead of you to have this challenge to be able, right, to go out there and expand globally, and also to be able to meet up with the compliance regulations, right, that are needed in each country or each region. Now, that's where the concept of global reach comes in with AWS. And so there is something which we call the AWS Global Infrastructure, guys. AWS Global Infrastructure. AWS Global Infrastructure. Now, what do we mean by AWS Global Infrastructure? AWS stands for Amazon Web Services. Global means it's around the world. Infrastructure means that construction that is able to house the company's applications. And so now AWS went around the world. I'm going to show you guys this, the AWS Global Infrastructure. They actually went around different parts of the world, okay? They went around different parts of the world to now establish a physical construction. So this is exactly what we have right here. Hope you're able to see this. The AWS Global Infrastructure. Okay. The AWS Global Infrastructure is in such a way that AWS went around the world. They started off in the US, right? They started off in the US. And now, while in the US, in North Virginia, here in North Virginia, AWS was able to now build their first, what we call data center. What is simply a data center? A data center is simply a physical location that is, allocated for very giant supercomputers. Probably some of us are connected using our phones, some of us are connected using our laptops. And so you want to ask yourself, hey, or you're asking yourself, how does this data center even look like? So I'm going to show us AWS data center. So this is how the AWS data center looks like. So they actually carve out physical locations where they build these giant supercomputers. And these computers, right, as you can see right here, these computers are actually, they contain very huge compute powers, right, that is able to support, a huge amount of traffic. So no matter the size of the traffic, no matter the number of people that are trying to reach our application, right, these giant supercomputers are able to withstand that amount of traffic. It has the right compute power. All of this you see here are giant supercomputers, which is very difficult for a single individual. Just imagine that you in your local town and you want to be able to sell maybe shoes, you want to be able to sell maybe dresses, you want to be able to sell, whatever. And you don't have the billions to be able to go and set up this physical structure, right? AWS now has this available in different physical locations. As you can see here, different physical locations all around the world. They set up in North Virginia. In Africa, we have it here in Cape Town, in South Africa. We have it in Spain. We have it in South America. We have it in London. We have it in Canada. In different areas all around the world, guys. They've gone ahead and built physical structures like this. And these physical structures that they've actually dedicated to build, right? Now, each of these areas is called a region. All of this, North Virginia is actually called a region. So in the AWS global infrastructure, right, we have what we call regions. So these are actually regions. And in these regions, right, what do? They now decide to allocate specific areas where they set up these physical buildings. And each of these buildings is separated by a distance, as you can see right here. Each of these buildings, right, is separated by a distance of over 200 miles. The reason they actually separate this over a distance of 200 miles is such that, just imagine that. Now, before we go to this, imagine that you spend a lot of money, your savings, to set up your company locally. And at some point, right, you are exposed to a physical disaster. Let's say, for example, you have a fire outbreak that burns your shop, you're able to serve clients, but that physical disaster or that fire, right, burns your shop. Or let's imagine you're located in a town that is, by the riverside or so, and then you have a physical or a natural disaster like a flood that attacks your business, right, and everything goes down. So what happens? Your capital is down. Imagine you actually hired people, you're paying salary, people going to go and unemployed, all of that, right? So all of that burden is on you alone as the entrepreneur. But what is the beauty behind the AWS global infrastructure? You actually have this physical structure separated by what? 100 miles, in such a way that if there is a physical disaster that affects one physical location like this, you see, you have many other physical locations, right, that will be able to serve clients. Why? Because when we're going to start up the training, we will show you how you can be able to host an application in more than one physical location, guys. And it is one of the best practices when it comes to AWS, that you should host your application not only in one physical location, because think about the rainy days. Think about the best way you can have a disaster. But when you come to the traditional way in which businesses used to operate, it is very, very difficult for someone to be able to do that. So imagine now, why stay in Ghana, why stay in Nigeria, why stay in Cameroon, guys, you are able to host your application in the US. What does this mean? What does this tell you? It is solving the problem of that person who had a challenge to be able to expand globally and serve customers. You could be in Cameroon and you have a very good product or service that you're offering to clients, but you have a challenge of how can you reach out to people. Right on this call, we have people connected from more than 5 different countries, but I'm able to serve them from where? From the comfort of my home in Cameroon. Thanks to what? Thanks to the Zoom application. You don't have to be present in Cameroon for you to be able to attend this training. It is thanks to what? Zoom, which is hosted on a cloud provider. Do you know that Zoom is actually hosted on a cloud provider? Many of you out there watch movies on Netflix. Do you know that Amazon Web Services is actually the cloud provider on which Netflix is actually hosted. All those movies you watch are hosted on Netflix or on AWS. Do you know that from Netflix? We're going to show you the solution that AWS actually provides, guys. And this is the reason why it is so important that you can stay from wherever you are and you can help many companies to be able to leverage the cloud. And so you see here in this presentation, we are trying to solve the first problem, which is that of what? The physical establishment. So companies no longer have to bother about building a physical infrastructure for them to be able to start up. No matter who you are, you're able to start your business. All right. Just go online and search AWS, Amazon Web Services, right? If you search on your browser, Amazon Web Services, you're able to create an account with Amazon, right? Right online, and you just, fill in your credentials and your business is good to go. But the question now is, do we have the right experts? So what is cloud computing? Cloud computing simply means that we are providing these IT services, right, over the internet. All these services are being provided over the internet. That's why I just call it cloud, over the internet. But then there are physical structures that are hosting these applications. But these physical structures hosting applications, you don't have to bother about, okay, now think about it. If you are an entrepreneur, you build this physical structure, right? You need to employ, for example, security guards to guard these physical structures. They are going to be powerful supercomputers that are going to be hosted here, right? And as they are hosted, these computers are going to be generating a lot of heat that needs to be cooled, right? And also from time to time, right, they have to be maintained. There has to be a lot of maintenance, all right? So now you don't have to bother about that physical security. You don't have to bother about that physical maintenance, right? What happens? Amazon Web Services, AWS is taking care of all of that. But then companies now need experts that understand how they are able to navigate through the Amazon Web Services solution to be able to help them to establish. And that's the reason why you guys are here on this call. So that we're able to train you and equip you with the skills that will be needed to help companies save a lot of money. Come to think about it, why are companies willing to pay a lot of money to their workers? Is because the amount of money they would have spent to go ahead building these physical structures, they can now save that money and be able to pay experts remotely that will be able to help them, host the applications and all of that. Is that not amazing, guys? Is that not amazing? So that's the first thing about the global infrastructure. So the first component of the AWS global infrastructure, which is the global reach we're talking about, is regions. So AWS regions, right, is all this you see here all around the world. And right now, we have what we call availability zones. So an availability zone is just simply in these regions, right? These other physical data centers, these physical, giant supercomputer areas that are actually set up. So we break down the AWS global infrastructure. Number one, for AWS global infrastructure, the first thing that we have there, right, is regions, right? So inside, okay, the AWS global infrastructure, the first thing we have there is regions, right? So now in the regions, what happens is we now have what we call availability zones. Okay, so we have availability zones. All right, we have between 2 to 6 availability zones. So I'm just going to indicate 2 here. All right, so I'm just going to say here easy. And so we're going to teach you guys in October the best practice when it comes to AWS, how you need to host applications, and the minimum requirements when you want to host any applications using the availability zones, right? So these availability zones are actually established in the regions, and there are over about 22 regions plus, right, with multiple availability zones. Okay, so that's what we have for the AWS global infrastructure. Now, when we come inside, now the next that we have is what we call edge locations. All right, so I'm going to show us right here in the AWS global infrastructure. The next thing which we have, right, is actually called local zones and edge locations. The reason for this edge location, for example, right now, those who are in Nigeria, AWS actually has an edge location in Nigeria. It's just a way in which, right, they are trying to take content closer to customers. It's also a smaller data center. So edge locations are also smaller data centers that help to serve content or to deliver content closer to customers. Why? Because just imagine that you're seated in the US, you have an application in the US, or you're in Africa, and you have customers from the US who are trying to access the application. Now, when you look at the distance between where your customers are and where you are, right, that increase in the distance, right, is going to increase the time it will take for that client request to search and be able to give them a response. So reason why these companies are establishing all over the world to be able to help take this content, right, for their customers closer to the end users in such a way that it takes a shorter time, right, for the customers to reach out to the website and be able to have content. So now in the AWS global infrastructure, the next, like I said, is what we call edge locations. So we have regions, we have bit zones, and we also have what we call edge locations. We will not go into this in details, right? But as we start off the course, we're going to show you what edge locations are and what solution exactly AWS offers as far as edge location is concerned. And so in this, it simply means that for you to be able to activate this, right, all you simply need to do is just by little clicks, just by a few clicks online, you're able to activate your application to be located in different physical locations based on your need. All right. So this is how the AWS global infrastructure looks like. And this is how companies now are leveraging this, which means that you can start locally and your business can establish all around the world without you having to spend money to go into different countries and be able to build physical structures, hire engineers or hire experts in those different physical locations, right? You can actually work with them remotely, guys. So this is a high level of what we call the AWS global infrastructure. Is it understood, guys? If we're good, just drop a yes in the chat. Just drop a yes in the chat. If we're good, just drop a yes in the chat. If you have any questions, you can ask your question at this point, right? If you have any question as far as the AWS global infrastructure is concerned, you can raise your hand and we're going to take your question. I see a lot of people are facing network challenges. Just raise your hand and we will take a question. All right. So it's good so far. I'm trying to break it as simple as possible. Even if you have no IT background, right? I believe that the English I'm using is quite simple enough for everyone to understand. Okay. So it seems there is no question. Okay, great. All right. So Chantal, yes. It seems you have a question. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. Chantal, I'm going to prompt you to unmute so you can ask your question.
Okay, sir. So I did not get the edge global part, the edge location.
Okay. So when it comes to edge location, right? Edge location just simply means that as you see this AWS global infrastructure, this physical setup that we have, in all of these regions that you have here, when you go into each of them, they've actually designed very huge areas, physical locations, right, that they have dedicated to build supercomputers like this. Numerous of them. And in each region around the world, like you have here, let's say, for example, in North Virginia, we have over 6 data centers or 6 availability zones, right? In other areas or other regions, we have just 2 of them. So the range is from 2 to 6. The maximum is 6, right? Now, but there are other countries whereby AWS has not invested much to build very giant physical structures like this, but they have also built smaller physical structures with the aim to take the content of companies closer to end users. I take, for example, in Nigeria. In Nigeria, there is no huge data center as such, or let's say an availability zone as such, right? But we have one in South Africa. But in Nigeria, we have what we call an edge location. So it's a smaller size, right? It's a smaller scale. And the goal is to be able to take content close to users. Now, let me explain a bit what edge location is all about and how it works. Now, this is actually what happens, right? When we start up the training, we're going to show you that. Now, if let's say, for example, we have a company right here in USA, and right in USA, they host an application here in USA. Now, and we also have now here, let's say we have Africa. Guys, the application is actually hosted here in USA. The app is here. And we have customers in USA as well as we have customers in Africa. In the chat, between the customers in USA trying to access this application or trying to reach out to this application on the website, and those from Africa, between these two customers, which of these customers will be able to access the application faster? Is it Africa or it is USA? Drop in the chat, please. Is it Africa or USA? All right. Another post says USA customers. Okay. Drop in the chat. Okay, USA. All right. Great. Great. Why USA? It's because it is actually closer to the end users. The physical location matters. It's actually closer to them. Right. So now, in order for the customers in Africa, when we say they're going to experience, yes, it's closer. Why? So now we're saying that when they try to search online, let's say, for example, solavisetech.com, Solavise, probably most of you search on Solavise, right, .com. So if this application is hosted in the US, the customers in the US will be able to access it faster. What do we mean? It means that between the time when they actually search Solavise and the time when they get a response, let's say, for example, it takes 0.001 second, or let's say 0.5 seconds, right? 0.5 seconds. We're not going to go into any math here, 0.5 seconds. Now, this is for the clients in the US. Let me take here the clients in the US, 0.5 seconds. The clients in Africa, let's say it could take them 1 second, right? It could take them 1 second. So it's going to take a longer time for it to load, for them to get it. So now, in order for us to make the clients in Africa to be able to experience, a better response, to be able to experience 0.5 seconds, just like the clients in the US, what will happen is that we will now also come to Africa. Let's say, for example, in South Africa, we will also host the application here. So we come here and we also host the app here. In such a way that when the clients in Africa wants to search Solavise, their request will not go to the US before it comes back to them. So their request is simply going to come here in South Africa and they'll be able to get what? A response. So these guys will also experience what is 0.5%, 0.5 seconds. Now, a term is going to come here, which we're not going to go deep into. It's called latency. Latency. It just simply means that the time interval it takes when you actually search and when you get a response, right? We're going to go a bit deeper into that as we go on with the course, right? So, edge location simply means that we have numerous of such areas around the world whereby if you have two customers, right? If you have two customers, customer A here, right? Let's say in Africa, customer A, let's say this customer, both of them are in Africa, right? This customer tries to reach the application which is in South Africa here. Okay, South Africa. Now, if you are here, let's say in Nigeria, when you search, you give a request, it goes to South Africa, and then the response comes back to you here in Nigeria. So what AWS now does is that we have an edge location in South Africa whereby right here in Nigeria, we're going to design, a location here in such a way that when this customer actually gives a request, this is what happens. When this customer gives a request to South Africa, where the application actually hosted, we have the app here. What will now happen is that this customer's response will be sent and stored somewhere here in Nigeria. And once it is stored in Nigeria, it will now be delivered to the customer who is based in Nigeria from Nigeria. So the second time, this is the first time, guys, this is the first time he makes a request and he gets a response. So this is the first response. First response. Okay, first request. Now, the second time he makes a request, what's going to happen is that, so for his second request, for the same kind of data he's trying to access, this second request will rather come here directly to Nigeria. When it comes here, is going to verify if the content is located here. And if the content is located here in Nigeria, what's going to happen? He's going to get an immediate response from here. So his request will not travel all the way to South Africa, right? It's going to be queried or it's going to be verified first in Nigeria. If there is a similar response, and it's going to get it. And so this is what we call the edge location. Right? So you now see that it takes a shorter time for him to access his content, right, from Nigeria compared to it traveling to South Africa and back. So I don't know if you now understand. Is it now clear, Chantal? This is the concept of edge location. Chantal, is it not clear? Great. Great, guys. Any other question around this? Any other question around AWS global infrastructure? Any other question? All right. So if we are all good, then we're going to move over to the next concept, which is the concept of cost optimization. Cost optimization. Guys, drop in the chat cost optimization. Now, most of these things we've actually taught you guys, right? This is just a pinch of what you're going to be seeing, right, in the actual training itself. Now, this is more around the theory, but we're going to get into an account. Each and every one of you will have an account, an AWS account, where after we do the theory, right, we're actually going to practice what we're doing. So we're not just here to give you head knowledge, but we're going to give you hands-on experience. And we're going to bring in live projects, which you're going to do. Those projects which you're going to be using them to defend when it comes to getting jobs, right? Because our goal here is to help at the end of the day to get jobs, cloud jobs. So we're going to give you hands-on projects we're going to build together on how to achieve that. So just drop in the chat cost optimization. Cost optimization. So as we transition to that, you can just have a glass of water in the next 5 minutes. Myself, I'm going to just grab a glass of water for the next 5 minutes. Then we're going to step into cost optimization. Our class for today is designed for just 1 hour, 30 minutes. All right? So just grab a glass of water, and then we're going to resume in the next 5 minutes. I hope you guys are enjoying the class. I hope you're enjoying the class, guys. This is amazing. This is amazing. Great. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So we're going to step into cost optimization in the next 5 minutes. So I'm going to pause the recording as we resume with that. See you guys in 5 minutes. All right, guys, welcome back. I hope you're back from the break. I hope you're back from the break. Just drop a yes in the chat, guys. Let's know you're back from the break. Drop a yes in the chat. Great. Drop a yes in the chat. I hope you're excited about this. Drop a yes in the chat. Great, guys. Great. Okay. So let me share my screen. Let's move on with cost optimization. All right. So now, why is it important to talk about cost optimization? I'll tell you that because of the challenges, right? Remember we talked about the challenges here before cloud computing. And we said that many companies are now moving to the cloud because the cloud is the future of IT. Come to think about it, many years ago, it was difficult for us to talk about cloud. And now, one of the reasons why I equally took a look at cloud was at some point, I lost my laptop and all my content while in medical school and practice as a medical doctor, all the surgeries I was able to do, all my documentation was saved on my laptop. And so at some point, I lost that laptop and I couldn't have access to that. Right. So imagine all my documentation gone. And I never had a backup. Now, you could still have a physical backup. Let's say, for example, you have an external flash or an external hard disk drive or an external device where you store your data, right? But just imagine it gets corrupted by viruses. Just imagine it gets bad. It means that you're going to lose everything. And that's what happened with me, guys. I lost everything. And so I began to see the importance of saving my content in a location where I can access it anywhere in the world. Right now, guys, what I'm actually using right now, the tool I'm using right now to trade with you guys, right? I don't need to move around with my computer. I can move into any country. I can, just with my email, I am able to access all my data. Just with some few credentials, I'm able to access my resources hosted in the cloud, which means that what? You are not obliged to move around with physical resources. That is the flexibility which cloud computing gives you, right? Some of you maybe are using iPhones, using, so you have what we call iCloud, where you're hosting content. And as we start off, we're going to tell you guys the different types of cloud providers, different types of cloud deployment models, right? We're going to teach you guys that, but we're not going to go into those details right now. But we're going to tell you the different types of cloud providers, like public, private cloud providers, and how they all operate, and how you can come in, right, and serve each of these clients, right? So now, why is it important to talk about cost optimization? Think about it. If a company is supposed to spend billions of dollars or millions of dollars to establish physically, and they are now coming to make use of cloud, and you as the expert is not able to help them to save costs, then it makes no sense. So you need to understand just the fact that there is cloud computing does not mean that companies will be able to save costs when they come to the cloud, okay? But they need people who are skilled enough, who are educated enough about how the cloud functions to be able to save costs. And that's why now this AWS, right, Amazon Web Services, has actually created services and resources that can be leveraged or that can be used. And so we'll be teaching you guys how to use each of these resources and where to actually apply them and how to make them work. Now, so one of the ways in which you're going to save costs is the fact that, hey, there is no need to create a physical establishment. But even though you're not creating a physical establishment, you have to also design a physical structure. Just like when you want to build a house, you have to call someone who is called an architect to draw a plan, to design a plan. The same thing happens in the cloud, guys. A solutions architect, as some of you actually indicated to us, you want to become cloud engineers, you want to be DevOps engineers, you want to become solutions architects. And what are these roles? What are these persons? A solutions architect has to design a plan. Two people can design a plan to build the same house, and one is going to use the same resources to build a house cheaper, which is even more solid compared to another person. It all depends on how you're able, to negotiate, how you're able to put up the design. And so in all of this, right, the solution architect has to be knowledgeable about the physical structure that he has to set up in the cloud. So you will also be designing a physical infrastructure in the cloud, and that's the job of what? The solutions architect. Now, the next one, it comes to what? This challenge of guessing capacity. Now, in the cloud, guys, we are no longer going to be guessing capacity. We are going to have these compute resources. Now, in order to be able to address this amount of traffic, we're going to need this kind of computers. And so just online, you're able to choose which kind of computers to spin up. You can spin up a computer from the comfort of your home. You're going to choose which kind of computers to spin up. And just like, let's say, in a physical establishment or in a physical company, right? You don't have that flexibility. Just imagine, guys, that you have 100 computers up and running, or let's say you have 20 computers up and running to serve clients, and these 20 computers are actually designed to handle 100 customers. Let's just imagine that, guys. 20 computers to handle 100 customers physically. And then let's say you're offering a service whereby there's fluctuation in the way customers actually access your application. And at some point, the number of these customers that are trying to reach out to your company website actually drops to what? To 50 customers. If you have the number of customers drop to 50, now, if you have 20 computers serving 100 customers, now if you now have 50 customers, averagely how many computers should you have serving the same, this number of customers? Drop in the chat, guys. How many computers should you have serving these customers? Let's just say hypothetically, if you have 20 computers serving 100 customers, now the number of customers drops to 50. How many computers should you have up and running to serve those 50 clients? Okay, so Nusi says we should have 10 computers. Do we agree? Guys, drop in the chat. Let's know we're together. All right. Ikena says 10. All right. Ben says 10. We should have 10 computers, right? So it therefore means that you have to have an engineer who will physically go in and stop those computers from running. That's what it means. Okay, now, just imagine that you have that engineer who goes and stops those computers from running. And out of a sudden, within the next 5 minutes, right, what happens? The amount of customers increases to what? To say 200, guys. It increases to say 200. What are we saying? We are saying that you had to shut down what? You had to shut down 10 computers to have just 10 up and running. And now, the number of customers can already increase to what? 200. Now, how many computers will you need to be able to serve this number of customers? Guys, if you now have 200 customers, how many computers do you now need to be able to serve these customers? How many? Guys, drop in the chat. How many computers do you now need to serve 200 customers? If you have 20 computers serving 100 customers, now if you have 200 customers, how many computers should you have to serve this, right? Okay, 40, right? 40. Now, it therefore means that you have to rush to the market, guys, and buy 20 more computers. And you come and add. Guys, follow me clearly. We are saying that 20 computers to serve 100 customers. Now, the number of customers drops to 50. It therefore means, what do you need? You now need 10 here to serve these customers. And later on, the number of customers increases to 200. What happens? You now need to have what? 40. Which means that you have to add what? 20 more computers. Guys, do you have that flexibility to go to the market every now and then to buy more computers, come and add? Now, what if you go and buy the 20 more computers? And before you know it, the number of customers drops to what? To 20. What do you notice? You're going to always be in that dilemma, in that challenge of increased number of traffic and the amount of traffic and tickets, right? So now, you don't really have that much flexibility. So now, there is a solution that you can put in place in cloud computing, which is what we call auto-scaling, all right? It's called auto scaling, guys. Drop in the chat auto scaling. Auto scaling. Auto scaling. Auto scaling. Auto scaling. Yes, auto scaling. Auto scaling. What's the meaning of auto scaling, guys? What's the meaning of auto scaling? Auto here means automatic. You don't have to be there. You don't have to always sit there. In the past, right, we need to have engineers that work in the company where they have to sit down and be physically, changing, either they turn on the computer or they turn it off and so on. If the computer is down, they have to go in there physically, do some changes. You have to be there physically. And now, guys, we say time is money. If somebody has to be there physically, spending time to do all of that job, you have to pay them for their time. But if you have an engineer, some of you want to become cloud engineers or DevOps engineers, guys, there is a way in which you can set an automation, and we will teach you how to do that. You can simply write a code that will say that, hey, study the way clients are trying to access this application. If the number is increasing, spin up more computers. If the number is decreasing, shut down computers to be able to accommodate that traffic. So scaling here means that, these are two terms. Scaling means that your system is trying to adjust to changes in the amount of traffic coming to the application. Auto means that that change is not done by any physical human intervention. You're able to set up a metric. So AWS has a solution. That's why you see here in the solutions provided, guys, there are different tools. The number one tool here is called auto scaling, which you all have dropped in the chat. It's called auto scaling. These are the tools. We will teach you how you can use these tools. We will go into the AWS environment and show you how you can sit remotely and spin up a computer in Canada. We will teach you how you sit in your room and spin up a computer in South Africa. And it works, and you're able to serve customers. The second tool we will teach you how to use what we call CloudWatch. CloudWatch, right? What is CloudWatch, guys? Number one tool here is called auto scaling. Number one here is auto scaling. Number two is what we call CloudWatch. CloudWatch. Drop in the chat, guys. CloudWatch. CloudWatch. What is CloudWatch? And why is it important to take a look at CloudWatch? Just like you can set up a security camera in your house, as you're sleeping, your camera is watching over your environment, right? It's observing your environment, it's observing your house. It's able to record whatever is happening around. And so you can use that data from that security camera to make some decisions. Let's say, for example, somebody gets into your house that is unauthorized. You're able to trace that using what? That security camera you've set up. So AWS also has a way in which you can automatically monitor. So this CloudWatch is actually what monitors your environment. So when you set up a company, this CloudWatch monitors the changes. It's able to detect, hey, now, as time goes on, the amount of people accessing our application is increasing. So we probably need to have more computers to serve them. But now, the way we see, right, the amount of users is actually dropping. So we need to reduce the number of computers. When we say reduce the number of computers, it means that what is actually going to shut down. So when it shuts down, what happens? It is saving costs, guys. The title of this sub-training is what we call what? Cost optimization. You are trying to save costs. So when you shut down those computers that are supposed to be idle, you are helping a company to save costs, and you're doing it in an automatic fashion. So CloudWatch now, what we're going to do is that we will now connect CloudWatch to auto scaling. So it's a solution that's going to be built together. So we will teach you how to do this, right? To set up an automatic monitor that will monitor your environment. Once there are changes, right, it's going to now alert, or it's going to now notify an auto scaling solution to say, hey, spin up more resources. Let's say, for example, those who are in the US. There is a day called Black Friday. And on Black Friday, right, that day, there is an increase in the number of purchases. Many companies, what we call, they give a lot of discounts, right? Or let's say, for example, Netflix, right? Netflix, where many people watch movies on Netflix. Now, guys, Are more people going to watch Netflix on weekends or during the week? Drop in the chat. Are more people going to watch movies on weekends or during the week? Drop in the chat. Will more people watch movies on weekends or during the week? Okay, all right. Weekend, right? Weekend. We now agree on weekend. Now, it means that on the side of Netflix, right, they need to have more computers that will be busy on weekends compared to during the week. So most of their computers will be busy during the weekends. So we need to have these systems in place, right, in such a way that during the weekends, many more computers should be up and running. So now, the next solution that we're going to teach you on how to be able to help these companies is what we call choosing the right kind of computers. It's called right sizing of instances. Number 3, right sizing of, I will not use the term instances for now, but as we get into the training itself, let me just use computers. There are different terms we're going to be using, terms like virtual machines, right? Virtual means it's online, you can see it, or we can also call them instances, EC2 instances. We're going to teach you more around that. So the right sizing means that there are some computers that are more expensive compared to others, right? Some of you maybe are using Mac computers, some are using Windows computers, and you notice that Mac computers are generally more expensive compared to Windows computers, and so on. So now, AWS also has different solutions in such a way that you can purchase many computers to use at a cheaper cost. And so we need experts, we need engineers that understand those kind of computers and how they work to be able to serve traffic. So on such days like weekends, Netflix is going to be using many more computers, but many more cheaper computers. And so if a company wants to exist for a longer period of time, let's say 1 year to 3 years to 5 years, AWS gives them the possibility to buy many computers at a cheaper price. And we will teach you how to build such a solution, providing this cheaper cost. All right? That's the next thing about cost optimization. The next thing you have to do is what we call trusted advisor. Trusted advisor actually is a solution provided by AWS. And what does trusted advisor do? It says that it's a tool that helps business to optimize the AWS infrastructure and provide cost-effective information. So what does it do actually? Trusted advisor, right, is able to scan your environment and give you suggestions. So number 4, the tool now is what we call trusted advisor. Trusted advisor. Just like an advisor, right, can say, hey, I advise you to use this tool, advise you not to use this tool, right? It'd be great to use this tool, it'd be great not to use this tool. So the same thing here, AWS Trusted Advisor is able to help you scan through your environment and be able to make decisions, all right? Now, number 5 tool that we have here is what we call Cost Explorer. Cost Explorer, so there are several tools. Cost Explorer is also able to help you, all right? Like you see right here, we're going to go a bit in depth in the cost itself, right? It helps you be able to forecast. It has an artificial intelligence, right? It has an AI integrated in it, artificial intelligence that will help you be able to do what? Forecast your expenses in such a way that, hey, the way you're spending right now, as time goes on, if you continue in the next 1 month, this is how your bill will look like. In the next 2 months, next 3 months, this is how your bill will look like. So you can make adjustments, right? And you can actually evaluate and take off those areas that are actually bringing more cost to the company that are not necessary, all right? So besides that, we have other AWS services that can help you, like Lambda. We won't go into any details. In Lambda here, we will teach you how to write code, right? So don't be scared about, when we talk about code, don't be scared at all, right? It's just basic, coding that we're going to teach you Guys, if I hear me, drop a yes in the chat, please. Okay, cool. Cool, guys. Cool. We are entrepreneurs. We solve problems. These network challenges will come, right? They will come, but we're going to break through the challenges. We will break through. All right. So let me share my screen once again. So as you can see right here, guys, we're going to take a look at storage, and I'll show us how AWS has a solution called Simple Storage Service that contains an artificial intelligence. Right now, there's a lot of noise around AI, but how does AWS equally use AI to be able to help companies solve problems? I would show you on the last day of our training, right? That will be on the 5th day, guys. On the 12th, I would show you the solution that is available with Amazon S3. We're going to talk about the Glacier solution, how you're able to use that to also save costs, right? So in conclusion, there are lots and lots of ways in which you are able to save costs with AWS. And all you need to do is to get the right knowledge. All you need to do is to have an understanding of how the cloud works. We're going to go deeper into these concepts, right? As far as the training is concerned in October. So guys, we've come to the end of this session, and I'm going to stop sharing right now. And let me take questions from you. Let me take questions from you. So if you have any questions around what we've done today, the mic is open. But in the meantime, guys, I want each and every one of you to just type out what you've learned, just one thing you've learned, and drop in the group. Just type out one thing you've learned. Just say, maybe I, Israel, have learned, or maybe without your name, just say, I have learned this. Just type out something to encourage. A couple of persons probably missed out on the session of today. And so the feedback we're going to give out to them would equally boost them up, right? Not to miss the next session. I can assure you, the next session, next 2 days, is going to be so amazing on the 5th. You can't afford to miss. Same time, same link. Okay, so drop it in the WhatsApp group as well. Drop it in the WhatsApp group. Let's all drop it in the WhatsApp group. Just drop one thing you have learned today. If there is a take-home message from this session of today, what will it be for you? I know I've said a lot of things. Drop in the WhatsApp group right now, guys. Drop in the WhatsApp group. I know I've said a lot of things. And there is something that you've learned out of this. Probably not everything. And it's practically difficult to assimilate everything that has been taught today. But you must have gone home with something. And that's important. And so that's the reason why we're going to take you guys through a journey whereby you're going to be building on concepts every single day. Whatever we've taught today is going to be compounding over time. See, many people think that they can just go on YouTube and watch videos. And yeah, it's possible to do that, right? But let me tell you something. Statistics have shown that over 95% of people who want to just go on YouTube and just watch videos on their own, and just study on their own, right, most often drop along the way on this course, on this program. But those who go through a boot camp where they're surrounded with other like minds that they work together are most likely to stay on course, are most likely to follow through to the end, are most likely to network. Most importantly, some people on this call, from the survey we sent out, some people are from IT experience, but they just want to be able to network with other industry experts. So we are actually bringing you into that rich network that you're able to connect with others and you're able to grow, guys. So drop it on the WhatsApp group, one thing you've learned today. And, just share your excitement, how you can't wait for the next class, guys. The next 4 classes will be amazing. All right. And so we're going to declare to you the surprise that we have for those of you who are going to be consistent on this journey with these trainings. I don't want to have any of you miss any of the sessions, guys, right up to the end. So we've come to the end of this session of today. And if you have any questions, I'm going to take those questions right now, without which, thank you guys for the feedback you dropped in the chat. Thank you, we appreciate it. Thank you, guys. It shows that we actually had people that were attentive, because it's always amazing when a trainer, gets feedback from the audience. It shows that you guys were attentive in the class. Great. Let's have more coming in the WhatsApp group. Thank you, guys. All right. Great. So,
hello, Doc.
That's it. Yes, please, Ikena.
Hello, Doc. Yeah,
Yes,
please do well to send the recorded part of this seminar to WhatsApp, because some of us joined late. Okay, so it will be very good for us to go through it again. Okay, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much for that recommendation. Yes, so we're going to host this on our YouTube channel. All right, so expect to have the recorded version on our YouTube channel by morning, your time. And we're going to drop the link of the YouTube channel in the group. So you guys just like and follow the YouTube channel, and you're able to watch the recording from there. Thank you very much. That's a great one. Okay. Any other questions? Any other recommendations? Would love to hear from you guys right away. I would assure you the next 5 days will be great. The next 6 to 7 months, for those who are going to stay through to follow up with the live trainings, it's going to be the best moment ever. All right, guys. That's it. So you can unmute yourself and wish everyone a good night or a good afternoon, depending on where you're connected from. We've come to the end of our first day of the training. I'm going to be stepping over to another training right away. Unmute yourselves and wish everyone a good night. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you so much. Thank you, Doctor.
All right. Good night. Thank you so much, Doc, for the insightful session. We are
All right.
looking
Thank you very
forward
much.
to get more important section from you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
God bless you. Yeah.
Good night.